All right, thanks again for staying with us on the show, TMI Monday. Of course, I have with me in the studio our first set of guests. We'll be looking at the business environment in Edo State, the high cost of commodities, and the plight of those who are into container business. Of course, every state in Nigeria, like they say, has its own peculiar potentials. All the people needs to do is to explore those potentials and then, of course, harness it for the common good of all. In Edo State, privileged to have so many people living abroad. I mean, in all parts of the world, you find Edo State people there, many people there, Eastern people there, Isako people there. And many of them, just to make a living, go into bringing goods into the country via containers. But it looks like over the years there's been this challenge of exorbitant rates and all of that. So we're putting all of that together to find a way out. But interestingly, I have two gentlemen with me in the studio, one a reverend, the other a businessman. And they both have something very, very striking that is common to both of them. When they come on screen, certainly we'll see them. Reverend Olu Martins, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me again.
We also have with us Festus Agboifo, is a businessman. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure looking at both of them, you know what's common to them? White beards. So I probably could just color mine so that we have a perfect blend on set. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Now, first, there's this feeling that things are abnormally expensive in Benin City and in Edo State compared to other states or some other states in the Federation. Let me begin with you, Festus. How true is that?
Good morning, listeners. So, actually, the cost of living in Edo State is actually something else. If you look at our business environment in Edo State, first of all, I would say the union. The union is also a part of those things that is making things to be so expensive. When a woman buys something from Lagos State at the rate of 20 naira, she's going to add the cost of union. And the other way is you look at our people abroad. They are bringing in things like rice and every other things. And when you are buying rice in Lagos, it's cheaper. But when you are bringing them to Edo State, because of the challenges of the customs and the rest of the things, and it's a very big challenge. It inflates the cost of the prices of those commodities. If a man is clearing a container in Lagos State and is bringing the container to Edo State, you have to go through Ore custom, Jebode custom, the Ekedolo custom. If you put all these all together, it's a challenge in the business.
Okay, let me come to you, Lou Martins. This high cost of commodities, goods, and stuff like that, isn't this a general thing with Nigeria right now? Is it really limited to those states, as it were?
Well, there's a benchmark, quote unquote, because, like Festus said, all the things, the bulk of the things that we bring here are imported. So you also have to look at the exchange rates. But then the exchange rate doesn't exchange differently.
For Edo State?
Yeah, it doesn't exchange differently for Edo State. The exchange rate in Lagos, whether it is the parallel market, or the official market, however it is maybe $1 difference, $1, $1.50. But these guys who deal, they have a network. So before you know what's happening, everybody equalizes. And I have bothered a lot about this because if I am particular first of all about transport business, you're moving into Benin from Lagos to Benin. It's cheaper to move from Lagos to Benin than to move from Lagos outside Benin. Go to Agbo Park, you're moving from Benin to Agbo. It is more expensive to move from Benin to outside to Agbo than to move from Agbo into Benin. And so many other contiguous states like that. So it tells you something. And there's something in Benin that makes it difficult for people to move outside of Benin. My friend is the president of Traders Welfare Union. Just to buttress the point about union, you carry a basket of tomatoes into the market. What the unions will ask you to pay for the basket of tomatoes before you start selling the tomatoes, by the time you accumulate the price, at the end of the day, it falls on the consumer. Thank God for the Omonobanedo, because otherwise, building had also joined into it. Before you did anything, people came and said you had to pay for DPC, you had to pay for decking, you had to pay for roofing, you had to pay for all sorts of things. And God bless the Omonoba. That is now a thing of the past. Even when people come to you, they come to you secretly and all that. So it's a bother, because you find out that generally the productive sector in Nigeria isn't as it used to be. The manufacturing sector isn't as it ought to be, because of the combined issues of power, because of the combined issue of the cost of doing business in Nigeria generally. Edo State now has its own peculiarity of having different kinds of hidden charges. And if the governor, for instance, like he said in his campaign, says he wants to provide 200,000 jobs, the first thing he must look at is the enabling environment. You must create an enabling environment for those who want to do business in this part of the state, to do business without all of the hindrances and encumbrances. And those is already challenging a civil service state. So I give my kudos to those who do transport business. I give my kudos to those who do, school business. I mean, whether you even like to call it church business, whatever it is, yes, I give my kudos to all those who have found the courage to invest in Edo State. Because it would have been better for them to go and invest outside Edo State. And that's why constantly I doff my cap for the Esama, who brings everything here. So as many people who live in the diaspora and who want to do business in Edo State, if there's anything they need to do, is that the government needs to create an enabling environment for Edo State. And that's why in other states, you have free trade zones, all right? So that when you get to those areas, for instance, if you're traveling outside this country, you get to a place, it's tax-free, all right? As soon as you want to board, you probably don't have more than 10 minutes, but it's tax-free. The idea is that so that you can do as much shopping as you want. So we need to begin to think about, all of those, the hidden charges, you bring container in, and, some of us have had to, you go to the whole of First, you see different kinds of refrigeration, different kinds of things, and they are helping the common man to get by. Some people go as far as, even if you like to put it that way, buying clothes, both overwear and underwear. It's an extraordinary environment, and if it's an extraordinary environment, the least that we can do is to ensure, because we like to speak truth. I always say that there are two sets of people: those in big business and those in government. If you're not in big business, the multinationals, the multi-corporations, and you're not in government, what you are essentially is civil society. So we have the responsibility to look at the excesses of government institutions, government agencies like the customs, like the Federal Road Safety Corporation, and all of those paramilitaries. What do they do in contributing to the flow of business? If there's an inhibition, then we have a responsibility to come up to say, look, this ought not to be. And Edo State own is going a little bit beyond what is regular, and it's stifling business. And if it stifles business, it has a downward effect. Downward effect is that employers cannot. People are thinking about downsizing just because they got to run their business and keep people board.
Okay, we'll look at that in details in terms of what implication does this have for the business environment, especially for those who are the key actors of the business environment. You talked about specifically those who are into this container business. They bring us source. Today is not really to look at the content of what they bring, but do they go through due process in bringing these things in? Because I hear now that many of them are so frustrated with all these charges that they are thinking of relocating. For a state that is already challenged with being called a civil servant state, to have people want to leave the state on account of that certainly will not be healthy for the business environment in Edo State. So, can we build on that?
Yeah, of course.
Because you mentioned Lagos, you mentioned Ijebu-Ode, you mentioned Oluku or so as some of these major points.
Yes. You see, this is the only country, I keep saying it, this is the only country you see everybody takes laws into their hand. If a container is being shipped to a country like Germany, when you are being cleared by the port authority, you are cleared.
So once you are cleared at the port, you are cleared.
You are cleared. If a container is shipped to America today, to the United States of America today, or even Ethiopia, because I have a friend who went to Ethiopia, shipping into Ethiopia. He said when you are cleared by the port authority, you are cleared. There is no point of keeping customs on the highway. It's embarrassing. It's even discouraging the business. Inside last week, I listened to my WhatsApp message from a woman from, I think from Switzerland or Italy or Germany. These people bringing in goods to Edo State. If you look at Edo State today, it's a civil servant state. It is only those, some of us who have the courage to say, let me invest in Edo State. Otherwise, on a good base, Edo State is actually not a good ground to invest. Why? Ask me. If you are bringing goods in, the customs will always frustrate. And I'm aware yesterday or day before yesterday, a few days ago, the people in bringing container, they went to the Oba Palace. You understand what I'm saying? To appeal over these customs on the road. And a lot of business are relocating. I know about 3 or 4 of my friends who are relocating back to Lagos already. They have their warehouses in Lekki and Ajan Road. And Lagos is already having enough revenue. And they are pushing our people to go and putting more revenue in Lagos. How can Lagos State not be rich? You cannot compare the governor of Lagos State and the governor of Edo State. And today now, if we don't look into this matter, things will be skyrocketing. And our intimate youth will be losing their jobs. They will be losing their job. They have no option. If a man relocates today, you don't think that man will carry the staff from Edo State and take to Lagos State.
They will leave them here. So
they will leave them here.
That's an effect of this whole thing.
Yes, yeah. It will also affect our economic. And the governor is trying his best to try to bring in more investors. And we are trying to discourage the ones already on ground. And it's something we need to look at. It's not something we'll just play about. If you look at this product I'm wearing, if you buy it in Lagos, it's cheaper. But when you are buying it in Benin, they will say...
That's the material.
Yes, the material. They will say, when you are buying it in Benin, it's more expensive. How? It's not even because of the cost of transportation. Because of these hindrances on the way. When a man is bringing container, a woman went to abroad to buy goods, rice, tomatoes, all these things, put it in container, and the customs are asking her to give them 500,000 naira. How much does the good inside the container worth? Is that how we are going to build this state? We are thinking we are going to build this state. If you are bringing a container to Abuja or to bringing a container to Kaduna State, you will not ever see any customs on the way. I also have friends who are Benin, who have business like that in Kaduna State. They are shipping containers to those kind of areas in a part of Nigeria, and you will never see any obstruction on the way. There is no customs on the way. From Lokoja to down straight to Kogi, from Kogi down straight to Kaduna State, Kano, you will not see any customer. But in Edo State, from Lagos State to Edo State, you will see more than thousands of customs. And these things is really affecting the economic of Edo State. Okay. And I want the governor of the state to look into that matter, investigate the matter, look into it, and it's affecting his citizens. And these are the things that is making the state not to grow. Okay. But we're not getting revenue from it.
And just by the way, we'll also be talking via telephone with Honorable Charity Amayawo. He's an executive director in the Edo State Board of Internal Revenue Service. He's talking about revenue for the state, if they are aware of this and probably what they are doing. Then, of course, he'll also be giving us an insight into the vehicle particulars revalidation exercise, which, of course, started last week, Thursday. I have an update into it, how the exercise is faring, when it's going to end. We'll find out all about all of that in a moment with him live on the show from the Internal Revenue Office in Benin City. But while we're waiting for him to call into the program, let me get back to Olu Martins. Quickly, this whole issue about the plight of those who are into this container business has far-reaching implications, particularly with the challenges that they have in getting these things to Benin City, as it were. I think that for a container to leave Lagos to Benin, it must have gone through the necessary checks, due papers, and all of that. So, what do you make of this as an impediment to the economic development of the state?
You know, fortunately, beyond some of the things that we do in civil society, I'm a graduate of the Lagos Business School and several other of its affiliate organizations. So I have an idea of new venture capitalist. I have an idea of economics and some of the multiply effect of some of these issues in question. A few years ago, 880 businesses left Nigeria, including Dunlop Pills. Why? Because the enabling environment, because you must break even. Because first of all, there is ROR1, which is return of investment. And then there's ROR2, which is return on investment. There's CapEx, OpEx, that's capital expenditure, operating expenditure. By the time you factor all of these things together, the entrepreneur wants to make profit at the end of the day. So if you look at the fact that if, for instance, I can buy this jacket for, let us say, for instance, 60,000 naira in Lagos, right? And I bring it to the 7,000 naira. That's a 15,000 naira extra. Even if I don't want to go to Lagos to buy it, I can always ask my guy who sells it in Lagos. Or I can always ask somebody who is going to Lagos to say, please, while you are going to Lagos, somebody is going to bring XYZ thing, to you. Now, what has happened to the guy in Lagos? The guy in Lagos is output overhead, the way his goods come in and come out and go out and he's selling it is much higher than the guy who is in Edo State. The effect that he has more tax to pay. What is tax? Tax is something that you pay to government from your profit. So if you're not making profit at all, it means that there are several people who are losing down the line. Your employees are also losing, down the line. So when businesses leave Nigeria, it reduces profit for government. Now let's look at the issues of custom things. I've also said it a lot of times. You get to a car, you see custom things, and I'm asking, the cars that you are checking, they got into the. How did they get into the
port?
A lot of time, even when they say people smuggle goods in, people smuggle goods in quote, by complicity from the same custom officers. So when people say, for instance, some of those organizations are some of the most corrupt organizations, you cannot dispute some of those claims. And I'm not talking about claims, I'm not talking about rumor claims, I'm talking about claims from the National Bureau of Statistics. This is Nigeria's own platform for collecting information of how institutions run. People go to Nigerian Port Authority, for instance, and in recent times it has improved. A time was in this country where it would take you a week to clear your goods from the port. But now you have 24/7 automation at the Nigerian Port Authority. Even Nigerian Port Authority, they have an issue with that. There are several ports. Why should I, for instance, why must all goods come into the Lagos port? There's One, there is Calabar, there is Onitsha. But all of those ports are not used because those are the multiplier effect. But we're domesticating because we're talking about Edo State. Why would a custom officer, for instance, I have entered into a country bounded by one territory. I am moving interstate. I am not moving a good from one country to the other. I am moving a good within the state. I have ordinarily paid for the cost of bringing that good into the Nigeria, which is an official cost. I have all my documents. But people stop you, along the roads. Like you said, the issue today is not about what you bring into the country. Yeah. The product has entered. And when we say what we bring into the country, we're not talking about the extremes of those who bring fake drugs and all of that. We're talking about, those who bring used items, home appliances,
food items,
You got them into the country, and then you multiply it. One day, my friend, we met in Lagos, so we came through Ikorodu, and then we came through a van, a mini bus. The guy, by the time we got into Edo State, we met no less than 44 police checkpoints. I have a knack for numbers, so I counted. And we met no less than 9 custom checkpoints. This is outside, Federal Road Safety Commission. Now, tell me, and on that same road, people are kidnapping. You are now beginning to ask yourself, in spite of the flurry of
security apparatus here.
The issue is the fact that people want to fleece you. They want to fleece you. And when they fleece, by the time you get into Edo State, you are a businessman, you want to make profit. Why should I bring it to Edo State? And if I don't bring it to, if I don't sell it to Edo State, people can make profits in Edo State. If people cannot make profit in Edo State, government cannot tax people. The government cannot tax people. Government cannot have income. Just a few last month at the last revenue mobilization and fiscal allocation RMFA, the Minister of Finance told them that states should begin to look inwards because the dividends, the money that comes from the national, from Abuja is reducing every day. So what states should try to do is to show up internally generated revenue. How do you show up internally generated revenue when at the entry of goods, you have already put impediments, you have already put all kinds of barriers. So if I bring a good, for instance, and I would make $1 million selling it in, Benin City, and I make 800,000 selling it in Lagos without all of the impediments. Tell me,
you stay in Lagos. You stay in Lagos, yeah.
And offloading, some people sell at the custom point.
Yeah.
You get to the entrance of Nigerian Port Authority, all right? What we call Westminster. Highly in Lagos. People are already, they don't want to bring it here.
Yeah.
They want to sell it there.
Yeah.
Look,
And make their profit and then go back.
Even if because my profit is 1 million, but my profit is 800,000. But by the time I factor the disturbance on the road, it's about 350,000. So what it means is that I rather sell 800,000 without all of the stress than bring it into Lagos, like bring it into Benin, sell $1 million, but then I have incurred 350,000 on the road minus the harassment. So by the time I compound all of these things together, you're already seeing the kind of effect that it has. By the time you bring it down, what it means that government cannot have the kind of resources, the kind of revenue that is required from some of these internal, some of these potentials for internally generated revenue, for which government will be able to have the capacity and the requirement to do, like I like to say, the greatest good for the greatest number of people within the shortest possible time. Look at Lagos. Lagos has created an enabling business
environment. Is thriving.
New Town Development Authority, NTDA, that registered houses for right of occupancy, certificate of occupancy. You don't need to go there to meet anybody. The thing is being put in autopilot. So when you get there, once you pay all the required fees for your house, for approvals, nobody comes to you anymore. So it's easy. You don't need nobody. You don't need to know anybody. I thought that that's the way business should be in Edo State. And thank God we have a technologically savvy and a business-oriented, governor who understands what profit is. It comes from the private sector.
Yeah.
He understands the issues of capitalism. He understands the issue, all of these issues, attendant issues, and technicalities involved. So it's an opportunity for him, for us to be able to say, look, people are seriously considering relocating their businesses out of Edo State. So if there's anything we must do, is to be able to create a platform, perhaps a forum. Because in Lagos have PPP, private-public partnership, where they call business. You see hotels in Lagos who are taking care of their frontage, fixing the roads there, planting flower, putting street light, because the business environment is friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, there are banks, for instance, who take care of a whole street. I just say Adeogun, for instance, in VI.
Ademola Odeku.
Falomo. All of those things are taken care by private businesses because government has created the environment for them to prosper in their business. So they are eager to do their CSR.
Yeah.
And so once you make profit and then you're comfortable, business is smooth. There's no meeting and say, okay, there's a bad spot in my house.
Waiting for government to fix it.
Government institutions harass you, harangue you. All right, even if the hole is deepening the money, say, okay, I'll go buy cheap because you are insensitive to the price. So it's a big issue because we argue what comes first. Is this politics or the economy?
Okay.
If economy is booming, many people will not enter into politics. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And if economy is not booming, politics becomes more stifled.
Becomes attractive for more people to come in.
But if people are doing, marvelously well in their business, they will not be.
Don't care less about politics. Okay. Let me just get a final word from Festus Aboinfo, who is very, very passionate about all of these issues. What are your expectations in terms of action plans by authorities in charge to nip this in bud? Because the video that you talked about has been trending on social media. In fact, one of our shows on radio, one of our guys used that video. I could hear the way the lady was talking passionately about how she was being harassed, exploited, extorted, each time she brings container. And she said this is discouraging many people living abroad to bring containers into the country. In 1 minute, what is your expectation in terms of action plans by the authorities in charge to nip this in the bud? What do you expect?
Well, I know we have a listening governor. I want the governor of the state, His Excellency, Governor Godwin Obaseki, to invite the customs at Kedolo and invite the businessmen who are doing a stakeholder
sort of
meeting.
call for a stakeholder meeting.
A stakeholder meeting, and call for those who are into container business. I'm not into container business, but I feel this state need to move forward, and that is my plight. Okay. Let the governor just invite for a stakeholder meeting, and it's going to be a better chance and better opportunity for the people.
All right, Pastor Lomat, you share the same sentiments.
Because whatever goes to the Nigerian custom doesn't come to the Board of Internal Revenue.
No.
So what it means is that if that unit of the federal government, because there's no state customs, is frustrating local businesses, then it's almost an area for some level of emergency to be able to say, let's look into it, because at the end of the day, what Edo State government is looking at in 10 years to come, 15 years to come, there will be no opportunity to bring money from the federal government again. So internally generated revenue will be your main state. So it's important to protect your local businesses.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for the thoughts that you shared, looking at Edo State business environment, the challenge of high cost of commodities, and of course the plight of some of our brothers, sisters who are into important business with containers. Shortly, we'll bring Honorable Charity Amayo on board live telephone from the Edo State Internal Revenue Service to share a thought or two with us on this, and then also have an update on the vehicle particulars revalidation exercise we started Thursday last week. Still join us again on the show. We'll be back with you in a moment. Don't go away.